a new edition of Human Dialogues. I'm Jessica Lockhart, and I am the director of the International Institute of Humanology. I will be organizing and running a set of interviews with different people to speak about this month's theme in our institute, which is cultural beliefs and migration. Today, I am honored and extremely happy to have a very special guest in our set of interviews. Today, we're going to be talking to Javeria Asad, who not only is an engineer, but also a student of optimism coaching and humanology, who dreams of helping people change their world and their lives. Javeria, welcome. It is a great honor to have you in our program. I know you're connecting from Saudi Arabia right now. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much, Jessica, for inviting me on such wonderful show, because it's very important to talk to people and listen to them. And you are doing great job through your platform.
Thank you so much, Javeria. I am very happy that you like it and that you find it helpful, because that's what we're doing this for. We're trying to help people expand and widen their worldviews. So to start talking about this subject, cultural beliefs and migration, let me first ask you, I know you were born in Pakistan and you're currently living in Saudi Arabia. So how long have you been living there?
In Pakistan?
No, in Saudi Arabia.
Okay. In 2006, actually, I got married in December. And after just my marriage, like 15 days of my marriage, I just moved to Saudi Arabia with my husband, because he was already living in Saudi Arabia since 1 year. And so we moved in 2007, you can say. So like by this December, it would be like 16 years.
Wow.
I'm living here in Saudi Arabia, Eastern region, Al Khobar.
Okay, so not only you moved countries and cultures, but you also moved into a completely new life situation. Wow, that's so brave of you, because moving countries and cultures is already difficult on its own.
It was very difficult, because I never used to live, like, for example, even in the weddings of my cousins or anything, my mother never left, at any night to celebrate anything. We are not used to live without our parents and siblings. Even I was not used to it. So it was very tough and very challenging for me to, suddenly leave my family and, come to the, okay, it's okay. In Pakistan, of course, it's our culture that everywhere that girl has to leave her house. But suddenly leave her house, leave her culture, leave her country overall, and move to the new country, it's a really, really big challenge for me.
Yeah, and start living with a man, which you hadn't done before, just with a man. So I suppose this was not just a culture shock, but it was a life shock in its own. Wow. So I want to know something. If you had to analyze just the aspect of living in another country, in another culture, what would you say was the hardest part for you? What was the hardest thing to deal with?
Okay, actually, there are different things if we can analyze it. That I was not moving to any Western country. I was moving to Islamic country. So religiously, it was actually good for me somehow that we have our religious places like Makkah, Medina. So religiously, it was not tough. In fact, religiously, I got more close to my religion, because I got time to understand my religion in a more deeper way. But actually, this country is not socially advanced at that time. Not now. Actually, 16. I'm talking about 16 years before. So it was not socially advanced, particularly for the women. They have they were not driving, and there are many other things they as a woman we have to follow as per their culture. So when I come back, so it was very difficult for me to interact with the people. Particularly, there was a language barrier also. So initially, it was very tough for me to interact or have a good neighborhood, particularly for the locals. But I had some families who were expats, Indian, Pakistani. So luckily, I got some families in my neighbor. So I at least started some kind of socialization, but very, not, you can say, abruptly. It took time. Gradually, I understand try to figure out, try to observe how I should go socially within this country. So it took time to for me to get settled down in this new culture, new atmosphere, because I was not going out on a frequent level. Because in Pakistan, when I left, I was doing job, so
Yeah.
I was used to socialize with my friends in weekends. So here, because we don't know many people, so it like weekends were quite tough how to spend them. I was talking about initially 1 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's something I wanted to touch upon. When you moved to Saudi Arabia, you were following your husband's job. I have followed my husband's job in many different countries, as most people know. And sometimes we are taken to other countries as expats. Expats are a specific kind of migrant. We're usually brought to a certain country by the company, and the company supports us in many different ways. It's different from being a migrant in the sense that you just go on your own and you don't have the support of a company. And sometimes when you travel as an expat, the whole company situation and the whole world of expats opens its doors to you. So it's a specific kind of migration. I don't know if you moved to Saudi Arabia as an expat that is supported by your husband's company, or just you migrated there because your husband was there. What was your situation?
Yes, my husband was doing job, so I moved here. He was my sponsor here. So I am
Okay.
his Akama. So I was, in his Akama, it's clearly mentioned that I can't work. So, and if I want to work, then I have to earn my own Akama by applying in any company or any school or whatever. So it was another big challenge for me that I wouldn't pursue my engineering career, because at that time it was difficult for me because it was new, of course, bedding, new home, new culture. So from the 9 to 5 job was difficult for me. And secondly, at that time, there were not so many options for me to pursue my engineering career. So, and after like 1 year, I was planning to have a baby also. So, when you're getting married, and it was like family and in-laws pressure that you have to have a baby, and you have to give more time to your home, your husband. So there was no plan B at that time for me. So I regret actually, because whenever you're coming from a new culture, you should have some plan B. You should study the culture initially. I didn't do that, and that was my biggest mistake of my life, because I knew about it that I wouldn't able to continue my engineering career. So I should have some plan B's. Okay, fine. What would be the alternatives? So initially I was typical housewife, just taking care of my husband, home, and my first baby. But when he was like 3 years, and I was feeling that he needs some speech therapy, he was not talking, he was not, because at that time we were not socialization. Then that was, you can say that point triggered me a lot. No, that's enough, and enough is enough. Now I have to do something for myself, for my kids, because he has, although he born here in Saudi Arabia, he didn't have a concept of grandparents and cousins. But whenever we are going back in Pakistan, we are meeting with other kids. They are more expressive. They are more, intelligent and sharp. It's not saying judging that my kid is not intelligent, but in Pakistan and other countries, in your homeland countries, we have so much exposure. Like we are meeting on weekend relatives, we are meeting they are very rich, strong neighborhood. I had a very strong and rich neighborhood in my childhood. We used to plan different activities on different festive occasions. So here, kids don't have this, luxury, you can say. This they don't have so many friends there initially, a part of their school friend, and they don't have family. They don't know how to create bond with the family, with your immediate family, your grandparents, your cousins. So after when he was of 3 years, then I started to step out from my home, not as a worker, or you can say as a working lady, but also I started to become socialized differently.
So you would say then, sorry, if I am reading what you're saying right, you would then say that loneliness is an important obstacle and that people who move to another country should tackle loneliness fast and without waiting too long. Am I right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, absolutely. They wherever they're moving to new place, they should have some knowledge about the, for example, the culture, the cuisine,
Mhm.
and particularly the language. The language barrier was very difficult to interact with locals. Still, I'm trying to learn it, but it's a very difficult language actually. But if you want to interact with locals, now I have some good friends from the local community also, but still there is some gap between the expats and the local community, and particularly I'm talking about the women expats, because men are working in offices and they are interacting with the locals, so they are very good. They have good now they have good command in Arabic. Particularly my husband speaks very good Arabic, because they are in the field, they are making new relationships, working relationships, meeting new people every day. So they are in the practice. For example, if I learn Arabic, but there is nobody to talk about, to talk to her or him on a daily basis, on a regular basis. So it's very important to, whenever you're moving to a new country, you should have some discussions about that country. I try to learn through Google or any search engine. Their how they moving in terms of their culture, their of course, as I said, that religiously I was very much convenient, but socially, spiritually, like as you said, that I felt loneliness definitely, and culture, cuisine, and language barrier. Three main things are very important if you want to get settled quickly in any new environment.
Mhm.
And definitely, if you are a working woman, then and if you cannot pursue the same career, then you should have some plan B also, that how you can overcome your otherwise you will rust yourself and you will lose yourself.
Mhm. That is exactly what we're looking for in these conversations, in these human dialogues, to get your perspective, to get your experience, so that people who are in similar situations can have tips and ideas on how to deal with them. If I asked you, Javeria, what is the most valued learning you obtained? What do you think is the most important lesson you learned in this whole process? What would you say?
I would again say that okay. Actually, I was thinking that okay, fine, I cannot pursue my engineering, but there, if one door closes, other many door open. But it depends on you. How are you compassionate? How are you, have a thirst to do something? It is very important, because I saw many ladies here who were given up on their career. They are now typical housewives. Even they are crying, they cannot manage home because there is no domestic help here. It is very one important thing. There is no domestic help. There is the domestic help here is very expensive. So more or less, many people can't afford it. So even they were very vibrant. They were very sharp, very energetic in their homeland. They're managing multiple paths at the same time. But now, even only taking care of their kids home is a big challenge for them, because they have adopted the laziness of the environment in them. They have absorbed that laziness. They have, okay, fine, we cannot do this, we will not do it. This is the problem. And what I learned, no, if I cannot do it, I will definitely do it. So that's my motto actually. If somebody cannot do it, I can do it. So that actually, I self explored myself. You know, so basically, moving here in Saudi Arabia, it was a journey of self actualization, because life gave me another chance to explore those hidden skills which I was not aware of, that okay, I can do this also. So this is a very valuable learning actually, through this 16 years of journey while I'm living here, that I got the opportunity to explore myself socially, and then I started my own social entrepreneur club, and I helped many other women who were just wasting their time sitting at home. Otherwise, they have a very, very much talented, very vibrant, and they can achieve many things in their lives. But only they need a jump start, a kick start, you can say. So life gave me a kickstart, you can say a push, and I took it very positively. Okay, fine. I cannot be a good engineer, but I can be a good social entrepreneur. I can be a good event planner. I can be a good writer. So there are so many horizons I explored. So this is a very, very interesting part of my journey, actually.
Wow. So, ladies, gentlemen, if you're watching this interview, learn from Javeria how to really approach your life abroad, how to really try to integrate quickly, and how to make the best of it. Javeria, thank you so much for granting us this interview, for sharing your insights, your experiences, your life with us. It was really interesting. We learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak whatever I think. And I definitely, it will motivate many other ladies who think that life is over. No, life is never over. Show must go on.
That is exactly it. The show must go on. Thank you very much. Now let's continue with other interviews on human dialogues. I'm Jessica Lockhart from the International Institute of Humanology. Thank you.